Alrighty, here we are on a Thursday. Welcome into another edition of Bengals Breakdown. Once again, I am your host, Stone Shields. Thank you so much for joining us. On today's show, we're going to be spending some time talking about Amarius Mims. He still hasn't signed his contract yet, and we're less than a week now until Bengals training camp starts. So we'll touch on that, and I'll tell you why I'm not really concerned just yet. Also, we've been talking about ESPN's rankings, right, from executives, coaches, and scouts from around the league. We've been going through all the positions, and on today's show, we're going to break down their receiver rankings. And that's, of course, exciting because the Bengals have one of the best receivers in the game in JaMarr Chase. And also, LeSean McCoy made some comments about Joe Burrow, and kind of a contrast from what Bart Scott was saying a couple of days ago. We finally have some good comments about Joe Burrow, so looking forward to getting to that as well. But before we dive in, make sure you guys like today's video. The goal today is to try to make today's video the most liked video of July thus far. And in order to do that, we're going to need 332 likes on this video. We've done it before. We can certainly do it again, so help us out. Hit that thumbs up icon and like today's show. All right, so Bengals first-round draft pick, Amarius Mims, is still unsigned. And really, there's only a couple of guys that were drafted in the 2024 draft that remain unsigned. I'll tell you why I'm not too concerned in just a moment. But taking a look at those guys, you got 3 first-rounders, including Amarius Mims, and then 2 of the Minnesota Vikings first-round draft picks in J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner. And then a round 3 pick in Trey Benson. Really, I just think this is probably some offset language stuff, some offset language disputes within Amarius Mims' contract. As you know, rookies, their contracts are guaranteed, and it's really not time to panic yet if you're Cincinnati or if you're a Bengals fan, because there is still time for him to reach an agreement with the team. It just needs to get done before camp, right? Camp's going to start here on the 24th, so less than a week away. Certainly excited about that. Certainly excited to see Amarius Mims go out there and compete, perhaps, to be a guy for them on day one, but certainly a guy for them eventually on their team. He just needs to be there for camp, and a holdout would absolutely shock me, right? And it just would be pretty unprecedented to have that as a rookie. There's some rumblings that might be going on with J.J. McCarthy, but especially at the tackle position, that really wouldn't make much sense to me if Amarius Mims were to hold out. And remember, if he doesn't sign his contract, he's not able to practice. So this is something that needs to get done. I think Amarius Mims and his camp realize that. They might take this to the buzzer, but again, I would be shocked if he isn't there for day one of Bengals training camp. So it's your guys' chance to get interactive now on today's show with the pin comment of today's show. Will Amarius Mims sign before training camp? Type Y for yes or type N for no in the comments section. Again, this is a Y for me. We'll touch on this as it gets a little bit closer. We'll have a video out for you, and perhaps a short as well for when Amarius Mims does sign. But again, I'm not really concerned about this yet, but it is certainly worth noting because there's only a couple of guys that were drafted that have not signed. So let us know what you think down in the comments section. All right, moving on. ESPN, of course, released their wide receiver rankings. Again, these rankings are from scouts, executives, and coaches from around the league. And I always look at these rankings a little bit differently because they seem a little bit more accurate to me because the people that put them together really know what they're talking about. And they had JaMarr Chase listed at the number 3 spot. And here's what an anonymous NFL coordinator had to say about JaMarr Chase. He said he's still the league's best vertical threat and yards after catch player. The fear factor with him is thick, and that really is completely spot on. Before we fully dive into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to our channel. We are so close to 9,000 followers. Hopefully by the time this video is out, we've already hit that mark. But really help us out. Hit that sub button. We've got coverage for you all off season long, all training camp long. And, of course, we're really excited about the regular season as well. So hit that sub button. That's youtube.com/BengalsTV. So here are ESPN's top 10 wide receiver rankings. And this is, what I think about them. For me, I think Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in the NFL, right? Nobody can keep up with him. I know he's older than some of the guys on the top of this list, Jefferson, Chase, Lamb. But he's still such a dynamic player. And really, Miami's offense, they've got a lot of toys around Tua. But, Tyreek Hill's what makes that team go. So I got him in that one spot. He's got speed unlike anybody in the league. And he's, really reliable in terms of at the catch point, has strong hands, all that kind of stuff. So I would put Tyreek Hill at 1, and I actually would have JaMarr Chase at 2. And I understand that's kind of a controversial take. A lot of people think Justin Jefferson's clearly the better LSU receiver. I would put Chase 2, Jefferson 3, and then from there you can kind of mix and match a little bit. I think CeeDee Lamb's a little overrated here. Probably would bump Devontae Adams up. Not really sure what Cooper Kupp's not doing on this list. I understand he's had some injury issues, especially of late. And a guy like Mike Evans, I mean, that guy, he's had an 1,000-yard receiving year for so many years in a row. I don't know the exact number, but it really is incredible. Obviously, he had Tom Brady for a while, but he's also, dealt with a lot of quarterbacks there in Tampa too, and he's just a model of consistency for them. I think he's the most underrated receiver in the league. I would have Evans higher, but obviously all 10 guys on this list are complete studs. Taking a look at what JaMarr Chase has done in his time as a Cincinnati Bengal, it's really been incredible, right? Especially that rookie year, the Bengals going to the Super Bowl with JaMarr Chase. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year that year. And then last year, he still put up really, really good numbers. And, of course, Joe Burrow wasn't there for a decent portion of that. 1,000-yard reception, 1,000-yard season in all 3 of his first 3 seasons in the NFL. So that's obviously incredible. And kind of comparing the two here between JaMarr Chase and Justin Jefferson. Again, most people would say Justin Jefferson's clearly better. Taking a look at some of the numbers here, obviously Justin Jefferson has been in the league a year longer. Jefferson had some injury issues last year, so didn't really play a full season. But take a look at that touchdown number. Despite JaMarr Chase, not being in the league as long, he does have the edge in that department. And I think he can do everything that Justin Jefferson can do. He's just a little bit more physical, too, and I think that's what kind of pushes him over the edge, and in my opinion, makes him a better receiver than Justin Jefferson. Once again, your chance to get interactive with us in the comments section. Let me know where you rank JaMarr Chase in terms of wide receivers throughout the NFL. Do you agree with me? Do you have him in that number 2 spot? You think he's 1? Or do you say, Justin Jefferson's probably still a little bit better? Let us know what you think down in the comments section. All right, so FS1's LeSean McCoy. Of course, he had a nice NFL career, and now he's working at Fox Sports, doing a great job with them. And he basically was asked a question about 2024 being a make or break year for Joe Burrow, which is an outlandish question. All right, the guy's 27 years old, and I thought McCoy handled it really, really well. Here's exactly what he said. He said, "Not for Joe Burrow. He's that good. He's that great, and he's that young. He's only 27 years old. When he's at his best, he's healthy. We know his ceiling. We don't need to see it now. We know eventually that it's going to show up." And it's good someone nationally said this, right? Because it feels like every time you flip on the TV, somebody's just nagging Burrow about the injuries. Like, we get it. We understand. He's had some trouble staying healthy. But when he's healthy, what happens? They go to the AFC Championship game. That's essentially what has happened both of the 2 years in which he has been healthy. So it's good to see this in the media after Bart Scott's nonsense a couple of days ago. So really appreciate LeSean McCoy for his comments, and I think they were spot on. We all know what Joe Burrow is capable of doing, right? He's capable of being that 1 or 2 quarterback in the league and playing well down the stretch and just leading his team throughout, the latter months of the year. That's what I love in Cincinnati when Joe Burrow's playing quarterback. They just get better as the year goes on. Now, hopefully this year they can start out a little bit better, but they can obviously finish towards the end of the year, and that's when they're at their best, and that's when Zach Taylor has them at their best. And it's not a make or break year for Joe Burrow, but I get why you could say that this is his best chance yet, right? Because he's had the experience. He's now a veteran. And this is, probably going to be the last year with T. Higgins, so he's got weaponry all around him. And another big thing with that is the Bengals have such a favorable schedule this year, coming off a 4th-place finish last year in the AFC North. Taking a look at this, just a lot, especially early on, right? Like, obviously, week 2 at Kansas City, that's a difficult matchup. But my goodness, starting out with New England, you would think that's an easy win at home. Carolina, dumpster fire, right? Washington, rookie quarterback. The Ravens certainly present some issues, but the Giants, that should be an easy win for Cincinnati. Vegas as well. Bengals have struggled with Cleveland, so hopefully we can flip that around. Towards the end of the year, it really doesn't get that much more difficult for them. The AFC North is always going to be tough, obviously, but there's a lot of winnable games on their schedule for Cincinnati. And I think that's why you could say, I can understand people saying it's a make or break year just because everything seems to be lining up well for Cincinnati. But you got to understand that the window is always open when Joe Burrow's at quarterback, and he's made that very clear to all of us here in Cincinnati. Once again, I want to remind you guys to like this video if you have not done so already, and also shout out to you if you have made it to this far in the video. We appreciate you. But let's try to get more than 332 likes on this video, so you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up icon down below and give us a like on today's show.